Hello, everybody, and welcome back finally to History with Brian. We're a master student of history. Is here to talk history, learn history, and have fun while doing it. I really hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you do celebrate, if you celebrate anything at all. Um, and I also have to apologize. I didn't expect it to be this long between parts. I think for future videos, I'm just going to do the whole video all the way through, and I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to pause in the middle of it, because it's just not fair to you guys that you have to wait that long for a second part. And if I do decide to do more parts because it's just that long of a video, I will have to do better in the future to get them more close together so that you guys aren't sitting there waiting and wondering what's going on. So this is part two of History of the Entire World, I guess. And if you remember right, we left it off right at 1492 when Columbus had discovered America and the West Indies in that area. So I did back it up just a little bit, just so we're going into it, so it's just not starting right where I stopped. And so there's so much that happens from this point on, especially with this when the 1700s start, when we start getting the industrial revolutions in Britain, and it just goes on from there, especially the 20th century. There's just so much that happens. So let's get started, and without further ado, let's get going.
Spiceless.
Well, I guess we'll have to find another way to India.
Wait, said Christopher Columbus, probably smoking crack. If the world is round, let's go this way to India. No, don't worry, we already got this, said Portugal. So Chris goes to Spain. Hey, Spain, want to hire me to find India by going around back of the world? No, please, no, please, no, please. Okay. So he sails into the ocean and discovers more ocean, and then discovers the Indies and Japan. Let's draw a line to decide who gets which half of the world. The Aztec and Inca empires are off to a great start. I wonder if they know that Europe just discovered their continent. The Habsburgs are marrying.
So if you remember right in your history books, the discovery of the West Indies and the Spanish going in, that is not good news for the natives that live in South America and the now Mexico Peninsula there. They pretty much get wiped out completely, and it only takes them about 15 years to do so.
Into so many royal families, they might have to start marrying each other. Move over, Lithuania. Here comes Moscow. Ivan wants to make Russia great again. Move over, Timurids. Maybe go invade India or something. Persia just made Persia Persian again. Let's make it the other kind of Islam. The one where we thought the first guy should have been the other guy. Hey, Christians, do you sin? Now you can buy your way out of hell. That's bullshit. This whole thing is bullshit. That's a scam. Fuck the church. Here's 95 Reasons Why, said Martin Luther in his new book, which might have accidentally started the Protestant Reformation. You know what would be magnificent, said Suleiman wearing an onion hat? What if the Ottoman Empire was really big, which it is now? What if Russia was big, said Ivan, trying not to be terrible. Portugal had a dream that they controlled the entire Indian Ocean, including the spice trade. And then that dream was...
Yeah, so I don't know how much you know about the Ottoman Empire and Russia. They have pretty much been at war for hundreds of years. Like, on and off, they've always been kind of fighting each other. I just recently learned this because I really don't know that much about world history. If you've been following along, I already told you that. But I had no idea that Russia was on and off at war with the Ottoman Empire that much. So I just kind of found that interesting. I thought it'd be kind of fun to share with you guys. Some new knowledge that I learned.
Was real, and Spain realized that this is not India, but they pillaged it anyway. Damn, said England and France, we gotta start pillaging some stuff. Then the Dutch revolt and all the hipsters moved to Amsterdam. Damn, said Amsterdam. We gotta start pillaging some stuff. Question 1, can you get to India through North America? No, but at least there's beaver. Question 2, steal the spice trade. That's not a question, but the Dutch did it anyway. Guess where all the sugar's made? In Brazil. Stolen. In the Caribbean. And it's so goddamn profitable, you might forget to not do slavery. The next thing on Russia's...
Yeah, before this, Europe really didn't have much access, if that at all, to sugar. So this was really kind of the first time that they had real, access to sugar, and they really tasted it. It was pretty much a drug to them. It was so popular, obviously, that it pretty much changed the world and world politics from there on, and how humans treated each other, because that led into the chattel slavery going over there. In the Indies. So yeah, sugar was a very important commodity at this time.
To-do list is to get bigger. Britain and France are having a friendly discussion about who should control the entire world, more specifically Ohio. Then it escalates into a 7-year discussion, giving Prussia a chance to show Austria.
We call it the French and Indian War.
who's boss. But what about Britain and France? Did they figure out who's boss? Yes, they did. It's Britain. Guess who's broke? Also Britain. So they start taxing the hell out of America.
Right. Good place to stop, right? So that is basically, this taxation is basically what starts the talks for revolution against Britain, our American Revolution. The one important thing to note that even with this taxation going on post 7 Years' War, actual Declaration of Independence from England was not really in the talks until about 1775, 1776. But you have all this time through the 1760s and early 1770s that Britain imposes taxes, the Americans revolt in some way or another, and those taxes get repealed, and they try something different. So that is another video for another time. Hopefully I can find another video that really dives into the American Revolution, because it's really, really interesting topic, and there's a lot of things that people don't know about that has really been added to the narrative to really make the people think that it went a certain way, and sometimes, as we know, it's simply not true. So that's for a later video.
Fuck you, says America, declaring their independence and fighting for it. And France helps them win. Now France is broke. And Britain will have to send their prisoners to a different continent. Wait, if France is broke, why do the king and queen still wear such fancy dresses? Let's overthrow the palace and cut all their heads off, said Robespierre, cutting everybody's head off until someone eventually got mad and cut his head off. You could make a No, don't. Haiti is starting to like the idea of a revolution, especially the slaves, who free themselves by killing their masters. Why didn't we think of this before? Wait, who's in charge of France now? Said Napoleon, trying to take over Europe. Luckily, they banished him to an island.
But he came back.
Yeah, and the reason why they say that the American Revolution was so revolutionary was that they say that it inspired all these other countries and areas to have their own revolutions. So basically, at this time, we have a lot of kingdoms. There's a lot of monarchy going on. It's with the British Empire, the French Empire. There's a lot of empires that are based on monarchy. So having this notion of having a free peoples where the people run the government, theoretically, right? It's kind of a really new concept. And a lot of people are saying, or all around the world are basically saying, hey, we kind of want to do that too. So this is where you get all these secessions of revolutions right in a row.
Luckily, they banished him to another island. There goes Latin America, becoming independent in the Latin America.
Okay, so they really glossed over. I'm sorry, I'm stopping a lot again. I said this would happen. They really glossed over Napoleon. What Napoleon did is pretty important in Europe. Of course, he caused a lot of turmoil in Europe. You know, he was fighting Britain, the Russians, and all that. But in America, what that's important is that we actually gained a lot of ground. So 1803, I think it was, for the Louisiana Purchase, right? We actually bought that area that basically doubled the size of America, and President Thomas Jefferson at that time bought that from Napoleon. So he really glossed over that and he didn't really mention about it, but yeah, that's what happened at that time.
American Wars of Independence. Britain just figured out how to turn steam into power, so now they can make
Many different types of machines and factories with machines in them, so they can make
Industrial
a lot
Revolution.
of products
Started in Britain.
real fast.
Oh, those eco-friendly shoes everyone's talking about. Kind of expensive, but all right.
We'll skip through these.
Then they invent some trains and conquer India and maybe put some trains there. Hey, China, said Britain, buy stuff from us. Nah, dude, we already got everything, says China. So Britain tried to get them addicted to opium, which worked actually. But then China made it illegal and dumped it all into the sea. So Britain threw a hissy fit and made them open up 5 cities.
There seems to be this fad about Britain, of people basically dumping things in the ocean on Britain, and Britain having a hissy fit about it. It's kind of funny. We did it with the tea, and here China did it with opium.
And give them an island. Britain and Russia are playing a game where they try to stop each other from conquering Afghanistan. Also, the
Sultan of Oman lives in Zanzibar now.
that's just where he lives. India just had a revolution, and they would like to govern themselves now. Nope, said Britain, governing them even harder than before.
Technology is about to go crazy.
The United States finally figured out whether slavery is good or bad. It's bad, they decided. And then they continued manifesting their destiny, which is to kill the rest of the natives and take their land and maybe kick out the Mexicans too. I know.
Yeah, Manifest Destiny was a huge deal in American history. Manifest Destiny was basically, in layman terms, that it is our God-given right to be able to control from coast to coast of the American continent. And that came part of the Louisiana Purchase years prior to this. And then the Spanish, which own, and Mexico, that own parts of the American continent. So with that, sorry, my mind went blank for a second. So Manifest Destiny, saying that it's our God-given right, so therefore it is their right to basically oust any persons, and any other person that does not believe what they believe, religious-wise, is basically ostracized, and they are less than human. So they have the right to be able to kick them out. So this is where you get the Trail of Tears. You get the Indian reservations, I should say, sorry, native reservations, and a lot of genocide happens there. A lot of bad things. So this is really a dark time in American history, but I mean, then that's okay, right? There, a lot of history can be dark and very uncomfortable. So we have to get used to being uncomfortable with that, or sorry, get comfortable with that uncomfortableness, and recognize the bad parts of our history and realize this is not good, and let's continue to be better, right? This is part of why we study history.
Let's rape Africa, said Europe, scrambling to see who could rape it the fastest.
They never got Ethiopia.
Britain and France are still hungry.
They never got Thailand.
The United States ran out of destiny to manifest, so they're looking for more.
Hawaii, Cuba.
Wait, Spain controls Cuba. Well, blame something on them and go to war. What should we blame on Spain? Let's blame the Maine on Spain. So they blame the Maine on Spain. Now we're in business. To celebrate, they kick Panama out of Panama and make a canal, connecting the two oceans. Britain just found oil in the Middle East.
It makes cars go.
China is so tired of
Oil in the Middle East. We all know about oil in the Middle East, right? They're still fighting for oil in the Middle East, even though they say they're not. They're not. And that's why there's so many affairs that happen in the Middle East, and why we're so interested in the Middle East, because a lot of oil comes from there, and that's a lot of money, and so on and so forth. I won't get into that.
being bossed around that they delete their old government and make a new, stronger government, which is accidentally weaker and controlled by a guy from the previous government. Europe hasn't had a war since the last war, so they start World War I. Look at those guns. It's going to be a great...
Okay, it wasn't quite as simple as that. There's a lot of different aspects that went on. Again, future video, so let me know if you all want to see that or what you want to see next.
war. So great we won't need a second one. After it's over, they blame Germany. Russia went on strike and the workers overthrew the government. Now everyone's paycheck is the same.
Communism in the Soviet Union.
The Arabs revolt and Britain helps. Now the Ottoman Empire is gone, so we can give the
Jewish people a place to live.
I think I did this a lot in the last video, but if you notice, again, it is this section right here, this Fertile Crescent. It's extremely important in world history, not only because there's so much that happened there, but constantly people are fighting over that area. They're still fighting over it. And for whatever reason, that area has just been contested over. And maybe there's in the future, somebody can write something or discover something as to why that really is. And I'm sure there is stuff out there. I just haven't found it yet. But yeah, and hopefully in the last video, you noticed I was really trying to get you guys to notice the geography. I said that in my Why I Study History video, that I said that there's a lot of geography that goes along with history and why it's so important. So again, this section of the world right here is very, very important in the world history.
Hopefully the Arabs won't mind. Let's cut the cake, said Sykes and Picot, carving up the remains of the not-so-Ottoman anymore empire.
Except Turkey, Turkey makes a brand new Turkey.
And then the Saudis conquer Arabia. It just seemed like the right thing to do. Hello? Yes, it's the 1920s calling. Let's get in the car and drive to a party and listen to jazz on the radio and go to the movies. The economy's great and it'll probably be great forever. Just kidding. Germany's back featuring Hitler, the angry mustache model, and he's mad at the Jews for existing. Japan is finally...
Yeah. The period between World War I and World War II, I mean, there's so much that happens in there. And really, you can spend a whole entire semester on that. I mean, there are classes that are about it, and there's entire books that are about this section, like the interwar period. And this may be a very, very unpopular opinion, and you can say what you will. If you take everything aside from Hitler's anti-Semitism, blaming the Jews for the problems in Germany, and the World War II and the mass genocide and all that thing, you put that all aside. Germany in the 1920s and 30s is basically in ruins. Their money was so useless that they're basically taking it, restamping it, and then people were still taking it and throwing it in the fire to heat themselves. It was useless. There's no economy, there's nothing. And Hitler basically turned Germany within let's see, what was it, 1932? So within like a 4 or 5 year period, basically took Germany and turned them into a world power again. So say what you will. I mean, obviously you can't disregard all the negative things about it, but that is probably the one positive thing that Hitler did. And but yeah, it's definitely overshadowed by all the bad stuff, and it still is bad. I'm not saying it's good in any way, but yeah.
Conquering the East, and they're so excited they rape Nanking way too hard. They should probably just deny it. Hitler's out of control, so the international community tackles him and tries to explain why killing all the Jews is a bad idea, but he kills himself before they could explain it to him.
That's World War II.
Bonus round, Pacific Showdown. United States versus Japan. Fight.
Extinction.
Finish him. Let's unite all the nations and have some
World peace.
Seems legit. Hi, I'm Gandhi, and if Britain doesn't get the hell out of India, I'm going to starve myself in public. Wow, that worked. Bonus, now there's Pakistan. Actually, 2 Pakistans. One of them could be Bangladesh later. The Jews and the Arabs finally figured out which one of them should live in the Holy Land. Me, they both said at the same time. Let's divide up the land so everyone's happy.
Sight, they both get angrier.
Look out, China. There's a new China in China. What's on the menu? Communism. No thanks, said the other China, escaping to an island. I wonder which one is the real China. There's the Korean War, Korea versus Korea. Nobody wins, then it's on pause forever. Let's meet the sponsors. Oh, it's the 2 global superpowers. They're having a friendly debate over which economic system is good and which one is an evil virus of Satan. And they both have atom bombs. Fight! Wait, no, that would be the end of the world. Let's just keep it cool and spy on each other instead. And make sure we have enough atom bombs. I'll race you to space.
Yeah, and that's really the culmination of the 20th century, the second half of the 20th century at least. After World War II, I believe it was 1947 to be exact, the Truman Doctrine came out that basically said that we need to stop the spread of communism and keep communism at bay. And there's this political Cold War between the United States and Russia, the big 2 world superpowers that came out of World War II. And so what happens with that is that we have a lot of these little proxy wars. So we have the first one, which was the Korean War, then Vietnam War, and then so on and so forth, where the United States and Russia were fighting each other, but not directly. That's the idea of a Cold War. We're not supposed to directly be in battle with each other, but we're using these other areas called the proxy areas, and we're basically either funding them or we're fighting, but we're not fighting each other directly. Yeah, the United States does get heavily involved in these wars, and a lot of American lives died in them. But this is the Cold War and this political warfare and arms race against Russia is basically United States history from post-World War II up until the early 90s with the fall of the USSR and the fall of basically communism. But there's still communism today, but the big superpowers of it.
Now let's make some more countries fight themselves. Europe is tired of pillaging other continents, and the continents they were pillaging are tired of being pillaged. So here's a new map with new countries. Now you can't tell who they're being pillaged by. The United States finally decided whether racism is good or bad. They decided it's bad, and the world agrees. South Africa might need another minute to think about it. Let's check the world population. Whoa. Okay. Technology's better too, that might keep happening. The Soviet Union decides to relax a little and accidentally falls apart. Europe makes a union, so now they can all...
Yeah, accidentally falls apart. That's something you just kind of glossed over. That wasn't supposed to happen. It was a press conference. I forgot who was all involved and who was the speaker of it, but it was a press conference where the speaker said that basically that there's going to be no more no more wall. So basically, between East Germany and West Germany, you can have free flow of going back and forth. And that came the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. And it was an accident. It's a complete accident. The guy, it slipped out. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it happened anyway. And the people who were guarding the wall just basically let it happen.
All use the same money, except Britain because they don't feel like it. Let's check the mail. Surprise, it's on the computer. Whoops, someone just attacked America. I bet they'll remember that. Phone call. Surprise, it's in your pocket. Want to learn everything? Surprise, it's on the computer. Now your phone's a computer, which is in your pocket. Whoops, the economy just crashed. Don't worry, the big banks won't fail because they're not supposed to. Surprise, flying robots. With bombs. Want to print a brain? Some people have no friends. Some people have no food. The globe is warming.
And the ocean is full of plastic.
Let's save the planet, said everybody, not knowing how. Let's invent a thing inventor, said the thing inventor after being invented by a thing inventor. That's pretty cool. By the way, where the hell are we?
Okay, so a lot of stuff was glossed over in this, and obviously he had to do that to save time. And you obviously can't talk about everything. It's kind of interesting. I did an exercise in a class one time where he basically said, write your entire history in 1 page or less. And it's so hard to do, to be able to pick and choose what you want to be told or not. You have to leave a lot of things out, right? I mean, if you're interested, try doing it yourself. It's really hard to do. But this is a really, really good video because it kind of shows the succession of how things happen and a lot of the big important things. But there's a lot of big important things that was also glossed over. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of future videos. I know there's videos out there that really touch on these events and a lot more deep conversation about them, which I'm really excited to get going on those. But yeah, I really enjoyed this video, even the first time that I watch it. So yeah, that's going to be about it today. I think I'm going to end the video right there. Let me know what you guys thought about it. If you want to talk about anything, let me know if there's any kind of topics you want me to talk about, any videos that you'd see, you want me to react to them. Please let me know in the comments below, or even shoot me an email. I'm going to leave a link to my email in the description below. I'm going to leave a link to this video in the description below. We need to get the credit where it's due. I think these people do a really good job with what they do. So yeah, in the future, like I said, I really hope to be posting a lot more frequently. Going into the next semester here, I don't foresee myself being as busy, but again, that is a lot of wishful thinking. I'm sure I will be just as busy. So yeah, again, if you like this video and if you want to follow me, follow my journey through here, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you have anything to say, please leave a comment. So this is History with Brian. My name is Brian, and we'll see you next time.